Welcome to Oasis.
Hello everybody and welcome to our second match on this cold Sunday night here at least. Joining us for round 1 of the AAOL. We're up to season 4 now, and this is one of the games that was scheduled in for yesterday that has been postponed till today. So joining me for this match between Unreal Aussies and Meta Esketi is Queso.
Hello, how are you, Swift?
Cold, as I said.
Just cold. That's it. That's the
cold and little unprepared going into this match, I must admit. So we were just checking back on our notes a few minutes ago, and we did cast this Unreal Aussie side in their final match last season.
1. Round 1.
So coming into this game, I'm kind of expecting a bit from Unreal Aussies. I think they're a well-organised side, and we're seeing interesting composition. Both sides opting for the Pharah here on this initial point on Oasis.
I've got you. Healing stream engaged.
looks like the player's having technical difficulties, asking for a pause. No one's doing
Buffy
it.
on the side of Meta Esketi hasn't actually loaded into the game yet or selected a hero, so being a 6v5 situation, that first fight was quite simple, so I'm not sure we're going to restart because Unreal Aussie is very easily taking that fight, given that Meta were the player down. So
I think they're going to have to. I mean, we're already seeing straight away in that first fight there fusions on that Tracer DPS player who is always quite good, and he was looking very promising in that finals that we were talking about earlier last season. Very good DPS player, and got a lot of kills in that last fight. Especially
alongside Naked, currently on the Pharah, who's nearly at that rocket barrage just from that first fight. Impressed by both of those players until Fusion takes a right click from Metazol on that Zenyatta, but Kid Fox is able to resurrect. There is, well, Meta Esketi having trouble finding a way into the point at the moment. I mean, the Pharah is still in the sky. The Tracer did attempt to come onto the point, but I think it's just the Pharah and Mercy left the side of Meta. And well, interestingly enough, they are trying to continue this fight, and they are finding picks, so
yeah, definitely. The power of Pharah here against Brigitte is that aerial dominance, and we saw it just there. You know, you can easily take down a Brigitte who's on the ground, who's pretty much incapacitated when it comes to aerial threats, and even though you've got your team backing you up, you know, Brigitte is still quite vulnerable.
So we're nearing 100% here on the clock for Unreal Aussies, and so far we haven't really seen much from Meta Esketi, but they are going to try to come in on the point. They've got a few ultimates to use, and that's the Primal Rage coming out from Rohan, but Megancat dies early in the fight, and well, Rayo Wizard does get a pick onto the opposing Mercy, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think, because Unreal Aussies are coming up big in the kill feed at the moment, and there's not really anyone left aside from this Diva for Meta Esketi, and just clean up from Fusion there on the Tracer, and they're going to take this first point on Oasis with ease.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that was the dominant display of Unreal Aussies, or whether that was perhaps a little bit to do with the fact that one of their players hadn't loaded in for about 20% of that control percentage. So I'm not too sure why it didn't have a restart, but they'll have a chance now to draw the Oasis map 1-1 as we move over to Gardens. Quite interested by the choice of pick here coming out on the side of Meta Esketi with the Moira. That's a little bit of an off-meta pick at the moment. But they can make it work.
And both sides too opting to stay with that barrel, which is a pretty common pick as we see on Oasis. So Pharah Mercy is out on the point for the side of Meta Esketi, but it's Naked who finds the first pick onto the opposing Mercy, and that's a great pick to open up the fight as Fusion follows up with a kill on Winston, and then no DPS or support left for Meta Esketi, and this is going to be a pretty clean fight with no casualties for Unreal Aussies.
Fusions and Naked, it's all flooding back to me now. They had some great synergies last season, and we're definitely seeing them coming out strong here tonight. Very, very dominant play. They work well together. They get the picks they need to, and they're able to snowball. Starting out with that kill onto Mercy is always a pivotal initiating pick.
Yeah. And it must be said, running Tracer at the moment's a little bit off meta, and I think Meta Esketi's kind of figured that maybe it's time to switch it up a little bit, so they've brought in the Brigitte, and I think that's probably a great option to try and counter this Tracer that Unreal Aussies are currently running.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an important pick that they take up there.
Somehow Ryo Wizard finds 2 kills there on that soldier, and Menazol follows up with a Coalescence kill onto Fusion, and I think that's probably quite a decisive teamfight win, and Meta Esketi is going to grab control of the point, so not sure whether that was a bit of luck there, getting those 2 quick picks at the start of that fight, but well, already Unreal Aussies grouping up, keen to get back onto the point.
Fortunately, Unreal Aussies didn't commit too much to that last fight. I think they threw down a Mercy Valk potentially very late in that fight, which means they're not going to have it coming up to this next fight. Now, that being said, they've got 3 ults in the bank, they've got Barrage, and they've got Hammer down, so they combo that and perhaps take control of the point pretty effectively.
Menazol does fall early, stuck in the chokeplay there up the top, and Fusion's going to follow up with a kill into Ryo Wizard. Rocket Barrage doesn't find anything, but that doesn't matter because while that's going on, the rest of Unreal Aussies are getting picks all over the place, and it's going to be a retake of the control point. And,
yeah, it doesn't. Sorry, it doesn't matter so much whether or not you get kills with Rocket Barrage. Just that massive amount of damage that it puts out that allows your DPS partner to clean up and to confirm all those kills.
So the rally does come out from Meme Cat as Meta Esketi comes towards the point, so that's going to build up some armor for the team, but it's going to be a rally of their own for Unreal Aussies as Stressed Cal tops up his own team with armor, and it's going to be Unreal Aussies who get the first 2 picks with Meme Cat and Ryo Wizard falling early. And, well, there's not really anywhere you can go after you've lost 2 members of your team early in the fight, so maybe that was a bit of an overcommit there with that Graviton Surge. Unnecessary, but in all of that, Meta Esketi actually were able to take control of the point, which is not something I noticed, so...
Yeah, it's interesting because all of Unreal Aussies congregated in a back corner in a corridor, and they were just sort of standing around in there off the point, not really achieving much off the side, and as a result, they lost that control percentage.
That's a great first pick from Meta Esketi, and it is followed up as Naked gets taken out while committing that rocket barrage, but the Resurrect does come through. It's a pretty even team fight at the moment, but Buffy manages to die somehow in that fight as the rally does come out for the side of Unreal Aussies as Naked's on the Pharah looking for some kills, but getting awfully low, heading down to that health pack. And it's going to be Fusion who finds a pick onto Ryo Wizard, and Stress Kel does follow up with a kill onto the opposing Brigitte. And it's looking very much now like Unreal Aussies has found a way to turn this team fight around that they were losing early. And I think they're going to take this second point here to confirm the map win on Oasis.
There are a lot of moments there that Meta Esketi definitely had an advantage, but each time Unreal Aussies were able to bring back some clutch plays and manage to hold out against the odds and win team fights which looked lost. That's a real attribute for a team to have. that turns the fight in their favor. Well done on the part of Unreal Aussies there.
You're absolutely right. So we're going to take a short break before we head into the second map here. We'll be back in just a minute.
Now entering King's Row.
Alright guys, welcome back. We're now heading to London. We're going to King's Row for our second map, and okay, so Unreal Aussies looked very dominant on Oasis.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a testament to the DPS players on Unreal Aussies, Fusions and Naked, who are able to bring back fights that are pretty much looking pretty dire for their team. All of a sudden, the kill feed is filled with some crucial picks, and you think, wow, okay, well, what was going in the favor of Meta Esketi is swiftly becoming a Unreal Aussies 1 fight, and if they keep up that sort of performance, the ability to bring it back, keep the fights going a little bit longer, get an additional pick here or there, maybe take down, you know, the Mercy, the opposing tank, and bring it back from there, you can really, you know, dominate in terms of team fights, and, you know, get an easy 3-0 early on. But credit where credit's due, and Meta Esketi are still looking like they're competitive in this game. It's totally a feasible outcome that they're able to take this, and we'll go to a draw and tiebreak map on the gosh, I come a blank at what the final map is here, but I think it's likely that we can see this is going to be more competitive, despite the great performance of Unreal Aussies in that first round on Oasis.
Alright, so Husky Karma is going to start out on the Widowmaker on the attack here. Going to quickly switch over to that Zarya, who's unable to find anything. Most of Unreal Aussies currently behind that Reinhardt shield. So Meta Esketi coming in, straight dive onto the point, but Fusion is able to find an early kill onto Rohan on Reinhardt. So that's a pretty significant opening pick. Just brawling it out on the point at the moment. As we get a trade, Husky Rama finding a kill onto the opposing Zarya, but Mean Cat is taken out there on Brigitte. So could go either way at this point, but that first tick is taken, but Fusion does turn it around a little bit with that triple kill on the Hanzo. Hanzo very powerful in the meta at the moment, and Meta Esketi are going to have to back out a little bit, but they do get that first tick in about a minute, so not all bad news for them.
Yeah, Jeffical's really putting down some great fire strikes there, softening up the opponents, allowing for that that triple kill that we saw there from Fusions. Everyone was nice and soft, and it was really great synergy there. Unfortunately though, Jeffical's standing a little bit further back in that fight, and I'm not too sure whether he wants to give up ground so readily.
So the coalescence does come out from the side of Meta Esketi, but I don't think it's going to matter because Unreal Aussies have a lot of ultimates of their own, and we saw the Rocket Barrage, we saw the Earth Shatter, and we saw the Mercy ultimate coming out
Ready for more.
to end that fight pretty quickly. I think that might have been a little bit of an overcommitment there from Unreal Aussies. They did build their ultimates up quite fast after that first team fight, but I think now the ultimate economy shifted a little bit, and it's going to be Meta Esketi with a slight advantage heading into the next fight. So the rally does come out early for the side of Meta Esketi, and that's going to help give members of their team a little bit of armor. So Rohan is able to find the first kill onto Blake on that Zarya. The sound barrier also comes out, so they're getting plenty of a lot of healing there, and Rohan does get the Earth Shatter down, and Meta Esketi is going to be able to find enough kills to secure the point, as the rest of the team Unreal Aussies are sort of scattering around now, and they're only forced to back out a little bit. So I guess what I said did come to fruition a little bit there, in that Unreal Aussies used a lot of ultimates to end that last fight quickly, and it meant Meta Esketi had a lot of ultimates to come into the next fight.
Yeah, watching that fight there, it was quite an impactful ultimate there out on the part of gosh, I've lost my train of thought there, but there was a significant amount of healing in that last team fight that helped them stay up. I was watching Rohan just stand in the middle of the dragon.
A lot of dragon strikes. We're seeing Fusion charging that Hanzo ult so quickly, and I guess that point's just been made because he's already at nearly 90% on another dragon strike just seconds after he used it. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, by comparison, you look at Zarya, who's got 6% on their charge, and Fusion on...
That's just ridiculous. Anyway, heading into a pause, which is going to give us a chance to, I guess, discuss the power of that Brigitte ult, and then followed up by that sound barrier. There's no way, from Unreal Aussie's perspective, that they can really break through that. It just gives Meta Esketi such a big advantage.
Is that... Okay, so I'm guessing that's perhaps what I missed. Was it the AOE from Memecat's ultimate giving 100 armor, and Buffy's Lucio sound barrier ultimate stacked to provide a significant amount of health, through which it'd be very difficult to kill with those dragons? That makes sense. And I think that's probably one of the best ways, perhaps, to counter a Grav Dragons would be to double up your support ultimates with the Transcendence and the Sound Barrier, but...
Naked does get a long-range pick there on that Pharah onto the Lucio in the back line, so that's just going to delay Meta Esketi a little bit longer in coming through here, so... We've still got 2.5 minutes to push it to the next point.
I'm wondering why, and Swift, perhaps you can help me figure out why they're not running a hit scan here on the side of Meta Esketi. You said yourself, there's that Pharah dominant in the sky, long range snipes, and no hit scan to counter it. What's going on?
So, well, we do get that Graviton Surge come out for the side of Meta Esketi, but doesn't really matter because it's 4 of their own team members who get caught up in that Dragon Strike, which is just getting so much usage here from Fusion. But coming back to that point about Meta Esketi not running a hit scan, could be a conscious or unconscious decision. I mean, you can make arguments for either way, and Stress Cat's just called for a pause there, so I think he might be having issues with his game. And if that's the case, then I congratulate Unreal Aussies on doing so well at the moment. If one of their players is facing a few issues. But yeah, I guess there's an argument to be made for Meta Esketi. Perhaps they might be thinking, maybe we don't need to run a hit scan because we're going to focus on this ground game. We'll go after Fusion, perhaps. But I guess you can also say, well, maybe if they switch up. Well, they're not actually running a DPS hero at the moment at all, so I don't know.
That's a good point. I completely overlooked that. You're right. No hit scan. And no DPS at all to speak of. So.
With that being said, I don't actually have any issue with their current composition. It's a little bit innovative, and I guess let's see if they can do something with it.
Well, yeah, triple tank, triple support, but I'd like to consider that Farah is just out of their range as ground-based heroes.
Well, I might just point out that was unfortunate because Jefficles did get a good Earth Shatter there, followed up by a really good easy rocket barrage from Naked, but unfortunately what I was about to say is that going in with the rally and the sound barrier and the Earth Shatter for Meta Esketi could have been really powerful and enough to push it to point B, but unfortunately they've lost 2 of those ults.
Well, I think we did see Rohan use a hammer down, but I'm not too sure what happened there. Did it not connect, or
I think perhaps
was on top of it with a block?
Perhaps he used it while he was getting shattered himself.
Oh, that's pretty fatal.
So the sound barrier does come out for the side of Meta Esketi as they are looking to find an entrance here with just 50 seconds on the clock. Mercy ult does come out from Kitbox for the side of Unreal Aussies, and that's another rocket barrage from Naked and another Dragon Strike from Fusion. This is absolutely crazy how quickly these guys are charging their ultimates.
I dare say that it's in part the power of these players. As we say, Jefficles is great at that Reinhardt, always charging his ultimate very fast, hammering everyone. Naked, really good, and Fusion's charging it, but perhaps it's also the enemy comp that's letting them down.
So it's a little bit unfortunate. There was a few people early in that fight, but they didn't have any ultimates to work with. It's just incredible. I've lost track of how many ultimates Fusion's used in that round. Maybe 5, 6 more?
Well, yeah. I mean, as you said earlier, the rate at which Fusions was charging his Dragon Strike, he had just thrown one out, and then a few seconds later, you look at that that ultimate percentage, and he's already up to 90%, and you think that's incredulous, surely. But you also think, what is his opponent running? What comp are they going for? And it's that triple tank. With such a large health pool that you're able to pump damage into, of course you're going to charge those DPS ultimates incredibly quickly, and whether you're sort of perhaps not consciously aware of it, you're really feeding the enemy ultimate charge every single fight. Even if you lose it twice. You lose it on the face value because you've just lost a fight, but you lose it on the second fight because you've essentially given them a massive bank of free ultimate charge for which you've gotten very minimal. So perhaps the counter argument to that is in their thinking that if they're running this Hanzo and Farah and we're running triple tank, then it's going to be hard for them to do enough damage to finish us off. But that theory's gone out the window after plenty of those team pushes, so perhaps they should have thought it's time to change up the composition just a little bit. And interestingly enough, we're seeing Buffy run the McCree here and Ryo Wizard running that Soldier. Yeah, I think this is a much more logical composition.
Well, I mean, it would have been logical for them to run it last round, but
yeah,
I don't know if it's going to do them much good here. So Fusion's going to start off on the Widowmaker. We've seen a lot of good stuff on the snipey heroes from Fusion, so I'm expecting a lot here heading into their attack round. So Unreal Aussie's moving straight into the point. Jefficles leads his team in on that Reinhardt, but Buffy does get picked off very early by Naked on the Mei, with Meancat able to bring them back in with the Resurrect. Jefficles sort of gets stuck midway through a charge there. It doesn't really matter because Fusion's back at their spawn, getting kills on that Widowmaker, and Stress Cap on the point, getting a lot of work done on that Brigida, and there wasn't really much hope there for Meta Esketi.
That was a really strange defense. I approved of the comp, but when push came to shove there, they sort of forgot what game they were playing a little bit, and I think maybe it's time to unbind that S key, because giving up ground was a little bit of their fatal issue there. They just got huddled in the corner, and they were making no progress.
They got quite exposed there to that Widowmaker, and while the Widowmaker was doing the work, the Brigitte was all over them on the point, and the same thing's happening here again. Too many of the players are getting caught out by the Widowmaker, but it's Kitfox on the Moira able to find three or so kills, 2 of them with the Coalescence, and Unreal Aussies are going to find this point really easily, and I don't think there'll be any contest coming in here from Meta Esketi, so it's going to be Unreal Aussies winning the series, but of course in the AAOL we do play 3 maps, so we'll be back in just a couple of minutes for the 3rd map here, so we'll see you in just a moment.
Огонь по готовности! Double, triple, quadruple kill!
Welcome back to map 3 of the AOL Sunday games that were Saturday games rescheduled. Maybe we'll do more Saturday games and Sunday games in the future? I don't know. Unreal Aussies has taken up the series 2-0 against Meta Esketi, but that doesn't mean that Meta Esketi can't bring it back and get a clutch final map win here on Temple of Anubis. Hopefully, we'll see some even better, even stronger plays on the side of Fusions to take the series 3-0. What do you think went a little bit against Meta Esketi last game, Swift?
Well, they ran a composition on their defense that perhaps they should have thought about using in their offense. I think on their offense round, they stuck with a composition that wasn't working out for them. And it would have been wise for them to switch it up just a little bit. I mean, had plenty of pushes there and opportunities to change things up. They didn't really do that. So, would like to see a bit more flexibility from that side. But Unreal Aussies, on the other hand, I'm really impressed with their DPS duo Fusion and Naked.
Yeah, and Jefficles as well, making a lot of really smart plays on that Reinhardt, making a lot of space. I think I made a remark that he was walking backwards a little bit too much and giving that control percentage away too easily, but I think in the end that it was actually quite beneficial and playing really, really well. Coming out now, Meta Esketi on attack with a bit of a dive tank comp, then some interesting DPS picks, and sort of standardized standardized defense with the Reinhardt, but the Mei coming out for defense is a really interesting choice. looks like Meta Esketi is committing to a flank around the left side. And Jefficles knows to rotate and they take up control in that side room. RioWizard doing absolute work, throwing out 2 landmines, getting 2 kills, but Fusions and Stresticles comboing it up to confirm multiple kills and push that fight completely in their favor. And I think this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier. The fight goes in the favor of Meta Esketi, and then all of a sudden, Fusions, UA, Unreal Aussies, comes up clutch.
Yeah, and Meta Esketi, they're leaving themselves way too exposed to Fusion on this Widowmaker, and they're not really doing anything about it, and they're paying very heavily for that.
I think you're right. You're seeing now, they rotate towards point, going through main this time instead of the flanking route. However, Jefficles is the guardian of the point and keeps his shield up, blocks pretty much all of the oncoming damage, allowing his DPS to repel that attack. Again, really speaks volumes of his power on this main tank.
Yeah, and 2, we're just seeing again, Fusion's just being completely uncontested and is able to get a few really easy headshots off just by standing on the point by himself, so you absolutely cannot let that happen when you're the attacking team.
Yeah, you saw Rohan there try to contest that high ground, and Fusions does back down, but there's so many great spots on this map for that Widowmaker to you know, peek around tight corners and positions that the attacking team doesn't know necessarily where you are, and I think that's really in the favor of Fusions here as he gets a headshot on Rohan diving in to contest him on the high ground. RioWizard does deploy the Riptire and connects with Jefficles. That bastion of the point is no more. However, Kitbox gets the resurrect as Fusions takes down Metazorl. Memecat throws out a coalesce, but it only serves to keep the team up for a little bit longer until eventually everyone succumbs to Fusion's 100% scoped accuracy there. It's a pretty impressive display.
It is too, but I think it's also showing, I think, that Meta Esketi's priorities are a little bit wrong here on this attack. Really awful start with Rowan trying to dive in when he was already on maybe a quarter of his health, and gonna see Memecat getting picked off, coming out of spawn, and Husky Karma getting picked off standing still, so I think Fusion's having a lot of fun this game, I would say.
Yeah, I'd suggest that once... I think there's arguments like for and against having the final map be mandated to be played, because of course it's an opportunity to get back at your victor with that final map win, but it's also perhaps a little bit of psychological warfare, and Rohan is just gonna pop that primal rage to get to the point. The Graviton Surge connects with pretty much the entire team, and Naked throws down an AOE ice death arena, essentially, and freezes everyone in their place and kills everyone up.
Yeah, so Fusion didn't die that round, did he? I don't think he did on that Widowmaker, and he finished with a 15 kill streak there, so...
That's an incredible performance there. I think you're right. I think he was contested a tiny little bit. What was I saying? Hello. He contested the Widowmaker a tiny little bit, Rohan. But that was about it. I didn't think any kills came of that.
The problem was that by the time he had dived in, and well ahead of his team as well, which I think may have been a problem, he was already on low health, and it was just very, very easy for Fusion to finish the kill on the Widowmaker, and then the rest of the team still at the doorway. So, I don't know.
Was that Kit Fox asking for getting a Pog champ in the chat for that Winston snipe? I think that's fairly deserved, because you're right, that snipe of that Winston flying towards the high ground and then being completely denied by Fusions was pretty impressive.
bunch of misfits and freaks we
Well,
got here.
we're gonna see Fusion running the Genji, and I think perhaps maybe he just wants to show off that there's not a DPS hero that he can't play, because we've seen a good range of heroes from Fusion tonight. We've seen him on the Hanzo, we've seen him on the Widowmaker, we've seen him on... Who did we see him initially on? Tracer. Now he's opting for the Genji. Naked seems to be their projectile player, favouring the Pharah earlier, now switching to that Junkrat. And it looks like now for the side of Meta Esketi, they've decided to stop running that Brigitte, and Mean Cat will be running Orisa on this defense. So they're going to have to full hold on this defense.
I'm liking what Meta Esketi is doing. Sort of stage 1 Overwatch League, standing everyone up on that high ground, controlling that area effectively. But I think what's going to really tell them apart from a sort of good team is how they rotate once. Yeah, Jefficles gets to the point. Are they going to drop down, or are they going to rotate around? Or are they all going to be booped off by an incredible play from Naked? Really sets them up for success here. Meta Esketi is completely scrambled across the point. Fortunately though...
So, I think Husky Khan is showing us now he wants to tell Unreal Aussies, hey, I can play Widowmaker too, and he does get a few good picks off there. Yeah. So I think reasonably solid defense from Meta Esketi, but I think they did get a little bit lucky there in that Naked was unable to finish off any of those kills as he contested that high ground.
He did, he booped everyone off, and then all of a sudden Meta Esketi's everywhere on the point, which I think it's possible Unreal Aussies didn't actually anticipate, and that could have been their downfall here. Jefficles making good movement towards the point, and a crazy charge manages to catch the Diva for the D-Mech. Husky Karma's getting significant value uncontested on that far back high ground. Doing a lot of work now that we look at it.
And I think what this is telling us is that the Widowmaker is very powerful on defense on this map, especially if the attacking team's not really doing anything about it.
Well, yeah, you're right. Perhaps Fusion should consider contesting that Widowmaker, showing Husky who's boss, because otherwise, going uncontested, you should be able to make mincemeat of this team. Husky has deployed the visor, the infrasight visor, letting Meta Esketi know where everyone is. Out comes a fantastic Riptide that connects with B-Wake. And they'll be going into this fight one man down. However, Naked... sorry, my bad. Fusions pulls out the Dragon Blade and manages to kill 2 before Riot Wizard is... Riot Wizard is killed and takes down Stresticles with the Total Mayhem, which is adding insult to injury. Naked manages to catch another person with his own Riptire, and now it's 2 on the point. To make that 1, it's just Diva, who is taken down once she deployed that very sad bomb.
That was a little bit of yeah, it was a little bit of an anticlimactic end because no one was really left on the point.
Yeah, it was a war of attrition towards the end there. It was, you know, support and that Trance came out to try and keep the Diva up, but it would only last so long. And yeah, it became, you know, a 1v... Well, I think it was a 1v1 at the end there, and not much to say. War of attrition.
Yeah, well, this game ends in a 3-0 in the favour of Unreal Aussies. Like a lot of the initial games do in the AAOL, these games are sort of used to help decide what the draw looks like, because, well, in the AAOL we want to see teams who are evenly skilled matched up against each other, so we should see these matches become a little bit more even as the season goes on. So
they're the sort of feeler matches. They're the, you know, they're the intrusive, a little bit, you know, you see these teams that they're raw when they're, you know, going up against perhaps harder opponents and weaker opponents, and you get to see these perhaps the depth of the characters that they can play, or what they shine in when they're under stress. And I think that what you can take away from that game is Husky is definitely to be watched for that Widowmaker. Quite powerful towards the end of that game. So who knows what will come in future weeks.
Absolutely. So that just about does it for us tonight on our cast of these rescheduled games from yesterday. So the draw for next week's game should be announced during the week. So we'll see you for broadcasts on Saturday at 7 o'clock and 8:30, and then perhaps again on Sunday if any of next week's matches get rescheduled. So on behalf of myself and Queso and the entire streaming team here, especially Pinky for helping with the stream tonight. So we'll see you all again on Saturday. So thank you.
Ciao.